and he's ready to go. Noodle on his left, Jess on his right. Hey, hold up, don't start a fight. He's got you covered with all the sports. Don't fret, he's wearing shorts. It's time for Waking Jake in the morning, Waking Jake at night. Jake sucks.
Woo! Good morning, Bakers. What is going on, everybody? Welcome to Waking Jake. Myself, Jake. Big baby David producing his buns off. Massive sports weekend. Boxing, not going to talk about that. Go check out Dan Canobio. The big horse race. We love a good horse race. The three we care about each year. We'll end up there. NBA playoffs. We are going to start with the baseball. It's about the 1 month point. You know, we see the calendar turn May 1, and you're like, oh, your baseball brain is like, that was the 1 month part.
Especially last couple of years, we started even earlier.
Even a couple March games. So I thought that was interesting because we are naturally wired that
a month's a month.
A month is a month. Baseball starts around April 1st. May 1 is your check-in. So I think we'll do some standings, maybe a little bit of player stuff. But yeah, I thought it was funny that this is the actual 1 month part of the season where it was actually a lot of people were already doing that, and you're really 3 weeks in or so. So we'll check in around the league. Jorge Fierro with an F1 in the chat. Won't be talking about that. Only because
a lot of people I follow on Instagram are there, though.
Dude.
I always forget that it's like a
I'm
thing for a lot of people.
Super happy for Formula One, and it finally found its home in the U.S. And yeah, they just had a big race in Miami, and it was a whole thing. Like, if you were a celebrity, you went to it.
Like
my guy Dwayne was down there.
Of course. My Friday night, opened up pretty suddenly.
Yeah.
And rainouts. So I was like looking for something to do. I ended up going home, hanging out with the home friends. Saw Grammy for an extra 24 hours, basically.
Like that.
And then like one of the people I thought about reaching out to like see like, hey, we should have a free Friday night was there. Right. And I was like, oh, you're not here. That was a big moment for me.
Saw some Gramstagram. Follow BBD. Let's do some baseball, high and tight. We have Talking Baseball coming up after this. We will see you guys there. And it's brought to you by Candy. It tastes just like candy. So dance with me. You probably know they're the official NFT partner of Major League Baseball. Me and BBD, Joes and Paxton, went to the Yankees game yesterday. Candy was marketed on the Yankees outfield wall. They take the obsession and thrill of card collecting and make it digital with totally cool digital collector's items. Blind packs are the equivalent of Kraken wax, for those of you that have done that. There's core, uncommon, rare, epic, and legendary. We're working on getting the Jake Epic card. Every team and player will be involved. Again, this is the official NFT partner of Major League Baseball. So if you're in that world, or you're looking to get in that world, Candy is who you want to check out. Packs drop in May, the 3rd, the 10th, the 24th, and the 31st. And you can purchase with a credit card if you have one of those. Or I'm sure they take other forms of money. But go to mlb.candy.com. Set up an account at candy.com MLB or by clicking the link in the description. Start your collection today. Thanks, Candy. What's the sweetest candy around the league, Jake? Let's talk about it. Mets take 2 out of 3 from the Phillies. Hate to use it this early in the season, but that's obvious. Mets continue to play a winning brand of baseball. They still haven't lost a set a month in. That's pretty good. That's where you want to be. The Phillies, man, I mean, it just feels like it only comes together one day. I think I said this on here last week, but, when their pitching and hitting is both there, Like, they're a nasty baseball team. There's a lot of days in baseball where you don't have both, and that's when defense and base running and other stuff kicks in. And right now the Phillies, they haven't had that. And let's be honest, if we're doing 1 month check-ins, the Phillies would be a disappointment at 12-16, fourth in the division. It just hasn't fully clicked yet. And hey, that's where if you're the Phillies, go 16-12 the next month. You're at 500, and then keep winning baseball games. That's kind of what you got to do. And I think that's the other part of this exercise I wanted to check in on is, like, there's going to be a good team that's bad probably in a month and a half, and there's going to be a bad team that's good in a month and a half. So we'll see if we get any signs or hints of that along the way. Braves, they win 2 out of 3. Again, you'd put them under the disappointment category. They're 14-16. They are second in the East at 14-16. Their train, I keep saying it, just feels like it never got out of the station. They were waiting for Ronald Acuna Jr. to come back. They were getting good performances from some guys. They were also getting zeros from other guys. Let's be honest. I think in the American League and the National League, the two really good teams you'd circle that you'd be like, hey, if you could actually, quote-unquote, buy low, the White Sox, they came right back above 500 in their last series. They're 14-13 now. Braves are 14-16. They're a series away. I guess the other team you'd circle is kind of the Mariners, who are 13-16. Interested to see how that plays out. That division got a lot better. We'll jump over there in a minute. Braves hosted the Brewers and took 2 out of 3. Good for them, especially after dropping the first game. They beat Burns and Ashby. Like that for them. Cards and Giants split. Both those teams are off to really good starts this year. Went Cardinals, Giants. I guess that's fun. In San Francisco, Cardinals at one point are like, hey, we're going to win 3 out of 4. Maybe we'll sweep 4 out of 4. Giants punch back. Good for them. I mean, 2 really well-run franchises. And go look at recent history. Buster Posey. I think he had his whole weekend retirement number. Brian Wilson was there looking like a surfing man. It's worth the Google. Here's something of note. And the first one is an easy conversation. The second part is not. The Los Angeles Dodgers sweep the Cubs. The pinnacle of that ends on Sunday Night Baseball. Walker Buehler, 1 earned run, and that's obvious. He's like the Jimmy Johns. It's just freaky good. Like, every time, it just seems like he never has a dud. And the Dodgers part of this is easy. They are off to a fantastic start. They are on top of the National League West now, 19-7. And the quote from Mookie and all the hitters is that, like, they haven't even clicked yet. The Dodgers trudged through their first month of the season at 19-7. And yeah, man, I mean, let's see. If I go to Fangraphs, Mookie's off to a good start. Freddie, I mean, Trey's okay, but under what he normally is. Smith, Muncy, Justin Turner are kind of under what they do. Chris Taylor, Gavin Lux. The offense hasn't even really put it together, but their pitching, starting pitching is first in ERA and WHIP, and their relief pitchers are second in ERA and WHIP. That's a really good formula. They go to Pittsburgh, and then they have a homestand against Philly and Arizona. If Pittsburgh gets their bats going a little bit, there's a reason the Dodgers are like perennial favorites at this point. So much talent. On the other side, the Cubbies, who had a kind of an exciting offseason. Stroman and Seiya Suzuki, 2 of the sexy free agents in a way. Like, you knew you didn't have to pay top dollar for Stroman, but you could get a couple good years out of him.
It's a real situation, you know.
I mean, Seiya was one of the bigger wild cards. Nobody really knew, and he's looked great. He's got a 140 OPS plus. The pop is real. This Chicago Cubs roster, and we talked about it preseason. I mentioned I texted Happer about it. It's just an interesting construction of guys. I mean, Wilson Contreras has been there seemingly forever and has been a trade rumor forever. Schwindel and Wisdom, they both had flashes in the pan last year that it was kind of like, what do you do with that? Because they were both so good. Ian Happ, we're biased, but that's a pretty good baseball reference. Check that out. Jason Hayward is playing center field at this point, and it feels like he's been around for 12 years because he kind of has. Madrigal and Horner up the middle. If you're a baseball prospect guy, you're familiar with these dudes. Ortega came into the year. They signed Yan Gomes. Remember that? That's when Wilson Contreras was going to get traded because they signed Yan Gomes. And then they signed Stroman, who he's on the 10-day IL. I
think COVID stuff.
COVID.
Could be back soon.
So, I mean, this offense is kind of a bottom third offense and a bottom third pitching staff, which, hey, that's a bad formula. I saw some of the people from Cubs Twitter. They're running hot. I think this year was kind of the Cubs were hoping for a show-me year. Hopefully a couple of those guys I mentioned, Wisdom's, Rafael Ortega's, took off and they were the truth. And if you're sitting around 500 at the deadline, you are the Chicago Cubs and you can make impactful moves to the future of your team. It's not looking good. The product looks bad from everything I've seen. And Cubs fans are already at like a 9 out of 10.
After last year went the way it did. Like looking at the Baseball Reference team page, the offense, at least on the whole for a month into the season, it doesn't look that bad. It feels like guys are either fully clicking or fully not. And I guess it is 3 guys that are in that like listed lineup or that are fully just not going. And I guess that is a whole.
Yeah, I mean, Michelle just said it. Schwindel was optioned down, and I like looking at guys as like coin flips. Coin flips better than corn flips in my experience. The Cubs had a lot of coin flips that if the coin kept flipping and hitting heads, it could have been pretty nice. Right now, there's a lot of tails, and it's not looking so nice. Tough for Cubbies Nation right now. And hey, that's where again this 1 month part. A lot of teams have had one bad month in baseball history. You can change the ship, but man, 9-18 is actually a real bad month.
Yeah. As like when you were listing some other teams, like Braves are disappointed in their start. Mariners would have liked a little more. They're not buried by any means. They're very much
they're a sweep away from being back to okay.
Yeah, they play 2 weeks of good ball and they're potentially in first place.
Cubs are 3 sweeps away.
Cubs have lost twice as many games as they've won.
That's bad. The Padres. I'm happy. I drank a little bit of Padre Kool-Aid. I really love their starting pitching staff. This is the year that they had been building up for. No Tatis. Let's be honest. There are question marks. If the Padres were 10-19, I wouldn't be completely shocked. They are 19-10. They are a game and a half back of the Dodgers. They are 2.5 games up. Did I do that math right? Yes, on the Giants. Rockies are still battling. Good for the Padres. If they get Tatis back and they are still in the thick of it, they are going to be a conversation of this baseball season. We talk about Hosmer a lot on Talking Baseball. He got off to a big start. Their pitching is just really good. I'm pretty locked on that. The same thing, I think Bassett or Scherzer had a quote for the Mets saying, like, every day we have a starting pitcher that goes out there and gives us a really good chance to win. I think the Padres have the same effect. They take 3 out of 4 from the Fish, and hey, this is where the young season is still silly. We've been complimenting the Fish a lot.